I'm a queen, and if you're joining us for the first time, it's the channel where we get excited about love. This is where we are igniting that which dwells from within us, that which comes alive, makes us smile, makes us laugh. Hence, we say the crimson light is life. So, the crimson light is our journey to actualizing self love. This is where we are having fun with words and numbers, numerology to be precise. Now, we are exploring the word God and the word perfect and the numbers and the perfect number. Is there a perfect number? Really? Okay, so we are exploring what has been seen or termed as the perfect number, number 37. Now, I can understand that 3 and 7 is 10 and 10 is a perfect number. I can understand that, but 10 comes in other forms as well, like 2 and 8 or 5 and 5, 6 and 4. So, in that sense, why is there something so special about the perfect number as 37, being 37? So, of course, let's look at God because God is perfect, we are told. Now, because we are looking at God, of course, as a perfect God who created us in his own image and likeness, and Eve ate of the apple, that was perfect too. Yes, all part of the perfection. So let's just explore. Yes, so that means perfection constitute that which seem perfect and imperfect, in my opinion. So let's look at God, God. So 764, okay, right, 764. I shan't complain, I shall just make do. Okay, and hold it up. So this is 6 and 4, 10, 17. We can see this is 17. 1 and 7 equals 8. Now, of course, that is the 8 that Eve done. So Eve was 8 or Eve 8. I have done numerical presentations on Eve or the word 8, and we can see how Eve ate. This is what Eve had done, eating of the apple or the fruit, whatever it was. Apple equals 5, and I think that's why they said it's an apple. So 8, and her eye was open. But we see the word I, when we do the numerical value for the word I, that too equals 8. And that is how we get that 2 confirmation about Eve having that third eye open. Eve ate, and the word I also equals 8. So that gives quite an insight because we realize that God is always working with 8. With 2. 2, we take the story of Noah. 2 things, and I think there were times it was 7, but it was 2, a male and a female, of things or beasts and going in the ark. All right, so let's look at how perfect is 8. Of course, we know it's a symbol of infinity because there is no visible break from that. And so we could say, of course, that is perfect. But is that the perfection that God just wants for us going, or perhaps that's what is happening, going round and round? But no, we have signposts. That's what all these numbers are about. They give us a sense of structure, a sense of identity, a sense of where we're at. They like lampposts. They like whether the light is red or green, or whether the green man says, the light goes on or off. All these are really signposts that forms that 8 in the end. Because I believe that 8 actually was when God breathed, and whatever was around, it went, oh, that circle just sort of, the pressure of the circle formed an 8. Okay, you may not agree, but that's how I see it. Now, in that, of course, we see that I'm just looking, for instance, if you wear glasses, looks like 8, but perhaps the pressure or the use of them, or the whatever construct the construct of that which makes them or give them meaning or give them purpose or give them use, that we could call them glasses, that is what births that newness. Then we could say, okay, it births sight, it births vision in a new way. And that's how nine comes about. That's what nine comes about. And then that newness is that which is called nine, the beginning. Beginning equals nine. And end is five. Okay, and of course we see confirmation here for that five. Now I'm exploring the number 37. Let's do, in fact, the perfect, because I've done perfect before and I want to really PEFECT. So it's 2, 3, 5, 6, 9, 5, 7. So 5 and 5, 10. 10 and 15 here is 25, and 5 is 30, and 7 is 37. Now that's what is said to be the perfect number. I saw that somewhere and I hadn't really done the research on why is it such a perfect number, but I can just kind of from my observation and doing the presentations, yes, we can see here, for instance, we have 3, 6. 3 is divisible throughout these three blocks here. 3, 6, 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9. Why isn't 3 a perfect number? Of course it is a perfect number. I think I also came across the idea that 9 is also a perfect number. But of course, divisible by 3, that's, self-explanatory. 7, of course. 7 is a perfect number because God created the heavens and the earth in 6 days, and on the seventh day he hallowed it, meaning there was reverence to it and said it was okay. There was that big tick and he said, yes, that's okay. Because this is where he stood on his foot, because now that reminds me about foot, because here on the cross with Christ, you see there's the foot one over the other, and that is it here. So yes, Jesus Christ, when you do the numerical value for Jesus Christ, it equals 7. Jesus is 2 and Christ is 5. So there we are. This is Jesus Christ. 7 right here. So we could now say, yes, Jesus Christ was there from creation. Yeah, yes, okay. Oh, it is said that we all were there from creation, but what we are trying to do, make sense of how we come about and from what stage we are taking on whatever story, whatever meaning we make of a story, and what really pertains to us and what is really far-fetched. Perhaps everything is, but it's just is. Okay. So there it was at 7, and God stood. The 2 feet seeming like one, because that's God. He can just stand on one foot, make it look like 2, or 2 and make it look like 1, and has his head looking around and saying, yes, well, I have done well. I have created all these wonderful things. Yes. What's the next step? And of course, there we are, there we were, of course. See, this is 7. And there, of course, is where God had lifted his head up and we could see the eye is open. He's open-eyed on the Sabbath, because the Sabbath is really like the rest from his work, not from making an observation. He probably did not consider observation as work. It's like really resting from doing the actual sketches or paintings, whatever it was, but that was just an observation or really appreciation. As we said, they hallowed it. That was with reverence. It's like really, you've done a nice piece of work. Don't you really want to say, stand back and have a look at it? It's what we do. And we do that because the seed was handed down to us through God, of course. So there we are with the word 37 is perfect. But the perfection is not all ended there. because when we add 3 and 7 together, we end up with 10. Now, why is 10 so perfect as well? Of course, it's the characteristics of pureness, of perfection. It's like God is saying, okay, if you can't really digest my perfection or in that movement of that wave that goes around, okay, let me just stand still because three tends to move around. You can do all sorts with threes. 1 minute it's here with you, the next minute its head is bent there and it's coming forward and then it's back again. It's like, you know, it's just all over the place. Sorry, all over the place. It's in our north, south, east, and west. Hence, we have it as an M, we have it as a 3, we have it 3, we have it as a W, we have it as an E, and we have it as an M. So that is what it is with 3. And of course, 7, well, I've already explained 7. Okay, so but 7 also is that instrument. Perhaps God wanted to present that perfection because when we heard about God's saw, when God saw something, it's like God cut something. In fact, I've done the numerical value for cut and it actually equals 8. So it means that after it's cut, it's like the brain sort of thing, because it is said, scientists would say, when you slice the brain, any part of the brain you take, it constitutes of the whole of everything, which is that it is intact, like the number 8. And that's what happens here. We see, like God is putting his stamp on everything when he's finished sawing it or cutting it, or the word cut, C-U-T. And then we have, of course, as I say, that the saw, the 7 it's that saw. Okay, so that's all. If we say, for instance, 7, 7 is perhaps, I'm getting an image here. I'm getting an image here that 3 is the half of the 6 days of creating man on the sixth day. So hence we have man and we have woman. Of course, even 3 equals woman. We know man equals 1, but then that adds up very good with what I am saying with the word cut, because 3 and 1 for man equals 4, and 4, of course, is half of 8. So then that is really showing man, woman, woman, man, add together equals 8. Okay, now I hope that makes sense. So it's really showing that aspect of God, okay, or woman, or wisdom, or mouth, or all of those things that M is. And then we have 7. Of course, we know that 7 has transpired in that it is whole in the word Eve. So Eve also equals 14 because we have done the numerical value, because we are saying Eve was co-creator with God from the onset. That is Mother Eve. In case we get too confused, let's just say Mother Eve was there with God, co-creating with God. And to really put things in perspective, Eve would be present here. That 7 and 7 is 14. Okay, so EVE, 5 and 4 and 5. So that's 14. When we add 1 and 4 together, that equals 5. So we could say Mother Eve, in that sense, added to, when we add Eve, 5 and 8, that equals, of course, 13, 14. Okay, it's the time of, let's put it, it's 13. We are going back to that 13. That hence why I'm perhaps hesitating, because 13 keeps coming up in everything we do. So Eve and God, hey. So Eve was in, so we have 2 Eves, that we have sliced Eve in half. Okay, that sounds cruel. But Eve was sliced in half. Eve was that the eve for this first, for the days of creation, put it this way. So God would be like, God is the second cycle. Let's just say God is the second cycle, just for argument's sake. But He had created everything and He saw it was good. He saw it was good. This is the soaring, which is 7. Good equals 5. So we can see how the two sevens will cut. But of course, the two sevens together becomes 5. So two sevens. So that this is what I'm saying. There were two Eves. There was Eve, Mother Eve, and there was the other Eve. Because everything God did, He did, well, Mother Eve was co-creator, but there was always two. So this is why we have that part of we are Eve. We are Eve. We see that. Now to it seemed very evident that there has that there is so much to support this idea that in the one of the exercises I did with Abraham, that was 5 letters. Abraham was 5 letters, Hagar was 5 letters, and so was Sarah 5 letters. It's like there in all the stories there is that it's like there is that encourage not just encouragement, there is a degree of there is the stamp of Eve on it. It's like Eve was in everything, hence Adam said, and she was the mother of all living, the mother of all living. What else can we say? And Eve is the word is in everything. We use it every day. When we say every, there is Eve at the start of it. Even when we say even, something to be even, there is Eve. In the evening, there is Eve. We in fact, so constitute part of the day. We say morning and evening. So there is so much. Now that is another thing. When Christ also said the word Christ too. Christ is six. Christ is six, but Jesus is 5 letters, and He came out with these 5 letters, and it's as if throughout the end of His life, it's really doing His utmost best to say, hey, I'm not a man, I'm no man, I'm a worm. But the worm He really meant was that M word that denotes the feminine aspect. And of course, I have seen the M word in men and him as well. We know that. But I'm just saying that there seemed to be so much evidence to point that Mother Eve was there from creation, that there is two Eve, and so that we still have that loving, that perfect energy of that wholeness, which is where we are going. We started with that perfection is still following us. That M is following us. That 7 is following us, which comes to 10. And 10 is really, this is where the 10 had come into the name Adam. When we add Adam all together, which comes from the numbers 1 to 4, that comes to 10. So there was Adam. That was the second Adam and Eve coming about. I hope you have enjoyed this. I hope you have found it fun. And I'm feeling that there still needs to be something that ties that perfect number into it. But I hope, whatever it is will cross this path again. Okay, so if you like this presentation, click the like button and share, because this is how we do it. We share to actualizing self love. Stay blessed, stay bright, and stay blissful and be a field, because we are planting new seeds. Namaste. And stay ignited. Spill over with love.